Welcome to the UNSECURITY podcast. Each week, Evan and Brad give an inside look at current information security news, breaches, best practices, and other things you should know to improve your information security. Here are your hosts, FRSecure's Evan Francine and Brad Nye.
Good morning. Today is April 22nd. This is episode 24 of the UNSECURITY podcast. I'm Brad Nye, and I'm the host for today's show. Joining me today is Evan. Say hello, Evan.
Hello, Evan.
Today we have a special guest with us. We have one of the mentees from the mentor program I'm working with, Drake.
Hello.
Yeah, it's Drake, not Dylan.
No, correct. And he does not have a microphone because we're not that professional yet.
Well, we could. We have another mixer over there.
Except we can't figure it out.
There's that.
But, you know.
Why are you so damn transparent?
I know. It's because we do security, not audio.
I said the word damn. Is that going to put us on the explicit list? Probably not.
We'll have Brandon beep it out.
Yeah.
That'll be our first
I
bleep.
think you can say that.
24 episodes before you needed
You've
a
watched
bleep.
TV now, haven't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they
You
say
can
a lot worse
everything.
on TV.
Yeah. So, yeah, as you know, we participate in those mentorship opportunities. So, it's up to you, Drake, how much you want to chime in. But this is our, shared
Experience.
Shared experiences. He's going to sit and listen to us talk.
That's cool.
Because this is what security is.
This is what we do.
Yes.
Except for I did something, different once. It's all good.
Oh, man. All right. So, Evan, anything exciting last week?
Actually, on a serious note, last week was awesome. It was so cool flying everybody in here from, we had people in from Kentucky, people in here from Nevada, Florida, because we had our quarterly meeting, and it's always cool to see everybody. I get jacked about that.
I was glad I liked seeing everyone come in.
Isn't it cool? I mean, because it's like a party around here for a week.
It really is.
Maybe, and I don't drink, but maybe this is like a hangover, the Monday after.
Yeah, it's back to business and it really is a party atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean every night there's the tech services team is doing hack night or something.
Yeah.
We had a game night. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, they went out and did a lot of team activities. Trivia night it was good.
I think they rigged the game because I didn't win.
I told them I wanted somebody else to have a chance, so I wasn't able to do it. So I was being nice.
I get it.
How's your survey? Last I heard, it was suspended.
Oh, so did we mention the survey last week?
I thought you did.
Okay, yeah. So trying to figure out what normal people think.
Right.
So created that survey, sent it out. There was 42% abandon rate, so they paused my survey, and I'd have to rework it still.
Oh, okay. Well,
so I haven't resent it.
Have you looked through the results you did get? How many did you get?
84.
That's not bad.
Yeah, but I paid for $250.
Well, did you figure out which one was my wife's?
No, I haven't gone through that yet. No, but I think people don't. I think just in general, people don't like to think too hard. You know, they want to click the buttons. They don't want to have to I have to type something in here.
Yeah, that's probably a big part of it. Oh, she didn't have any negative feedback, but again, she's also married to me and is not.
Oh yeah,
she's used to that.
She's got a different perspective.
She sat in on for the whole podcast, same as your wife. So that's dedication.
That was fun. That was one of my favorite podcasts.
That was fun.
Number 16, I believe.
Yeah. I was definitely got a lot of positive feedback.
Yeah.
On that one.
So Easter, that was yesterday.
It was.
Did you have a good Easter?
I did.
What'd you do?
Smoked a ham.
Ooh.
So
you sent me a picture of your
I
ham.
brought some in. You can try some if you want after the.
Do you like ham?
Yes.
Drake likes ham.
Smoked.
I like ham.
Homemade spiced apricot glaze on it. You'll never be able to do ham any other way ever again.
I like ham.
Amazing.
I had a brunch, a meat brunch.
Just all you ate was meat.
Yep.
That's not bad either.
No, it was good, man.
Yeah, no, it was good. Just played with the kids and kind of unwound a bit. Did some work last night, but not too much.
We went to church on Friday, Good Friday service. That was cool. And then, just hung out. Had a nice, relaxing weekend. Except for, the weather was so nice. I did some physical labor.
It hurts.
That's not my jam, dude. That was not cool. So I woke up this morning and I was like, nope. Had my alarm set for 4:30 and then set it for 5:30 and I was still nope. So 6 o'clock. That's why I got in here like 30 seconds before we started this.
Mine went off at 5:15. That's just like, oh, what have I done?
Yeah.
Burned.
I got new muscles I didn't know. There's like one right here on the outside of my leg here. I didn't know that one was there. That hurts. I don't know how to stretch it either. What the hell?
I don't know.
Nah, just live with it.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Tylenol.
Just take a couple days. It's the worst part about getting old. It takes longer to
I'm sorry, did you call me old?
I said getting old. Not you
well,
are
yeah.
old.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Older than yesterday.
Yes. Older than high school. You could do stuff in high school, and if I did it now, I wouldn't be able to move for a week.
Well, that's what I was just thinking. So Drake goes, can I say the school? Are we allowed to say the school? Are we allowed to say your high school without getting in trouble? Okay. So Drake goes to Wayzata High School, and I grew up in Minnetonka, so I went to Minnetonka High School. Big rival schools.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, 31 years ago, that's when I got out of my school. This cat's still in school.
I know.
That's crazy, right?
I'm at 24. Yeah, I'm 24 this year.
I don't know, man.
All right. Well, this is now the
depression. Now that we're depressed.
All right.
Are we going to talk about security?
We can talk about
my
security.
depression.
I know. Let's talk about something fun. So, good topic. When we'll be more transparent again. We don't always have a good plan leading up. It's only like, hey, you're going to lead and
speak for yourself, man.
It's Wednesday, and you're like, oh no.
I'm all about planning.
Right.
I have 6 shows planned ahead right now.
We actually do have a series planned coming up.
What, you do? I do.
We talked
do
about it.
Oh, okay.
See, we've talked about it for leading into July for the next Hacks and Hops.
Oh yeah.
See, we have a plan.
I have a guest next week.
You do. That's exciting. So as you can tell, we're professionals. What?
We have a guest. We had a guest. We have a guest this week too.
Sure.
Drake.
Yes. So anyway, I had a call this week, and this guy made a comment that I don't know.
Oh, are we getting into the discussion part of the okay.
So
you want to see my blood pressure go up? We got one of those blood pressure things.
I know, this is fun. So we're going to talk about being compliant versus being secure. So what the comment was that triggered this was we went through and we're talking about, how do you identify your risks and how do you prioritize what you should be doing. And he responded with, what is the absolute minimum I have to do to be compliant with, whatever regulatory requirement, HIPAA or whatever. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I just want to do just what I have to do so that when they come in, I'm fine. I don't want to go do anything else. I just want to know what's the absolute minimum.
Yeah.
So
how'd you feel about that?
I was like, well, we're probably not the right company to work with you in that case because that's not how we do things. You can be compliant and not secure. You can check the box.
Right.
And we've seen PCI breaches where they're PCI compliant. We've seen breaches around healthcare where the organizations were, high trust certified in areas. And was it everything or not? And that's not how we do it. We approach it with, we'll get you secure, and in the process, you become compliant. That's a huge difference between the two.
Right.
And that's not.
So was this a company that had a security program, and did they have a good security program, and then this was just sort of an add-on?
This was it was like a conversation with a potential new client. So this was their approach to.
Is this their approach to security in general, or is this just their approach to the compliance requirement?
Just it felt like it was to security, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Because they weren't going with because I'm going to do anything with us.
Right. So compliant is different than security, and so it gets frustrating when people use them interchangeably, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, compliant is, are you doing this? Yes. Are you doing it correctly? It doesn't matter. I have a firewall.
Right.
Okay, I'm compliant. Well, you got any open to the internet, you're not secure.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So checkbox security does tick me off, as it does, I think, most security people. But the difference, I wonder how many more people build their security programs just on compliance, or do they build a good security program based on risk, the way we teach, and then compliance is like one of those things they have to add on? So then at that point, I could almost understand the checkbox, right? I've got a good security program. This is just a pain in the ass. Check the boxes, move on, because there's not going to be any ROI probably.
Right.
But then there's the other way where it's like, if I'm building my security program based on compliance, based on the check boxes and ignoring risk, well, then that's another thing, right?
Yeah. And I think that's what we're seeing. Well, it's a mix, right? We do see some people that get it and are like, all right, I've got to do my SOC 2 because my customer's requesting it. But it's easy for them. They have a good program.
Right.
Right. So this was more just,
So I think many of our listeners probably know the difference between compliance and security, but for those who don't, should we tell them?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you.
Me? You can put me on the spot?
We should make Drake do it. No? Okay.
I don't know if he wants to.
So, compliant.
I don't know. I'm very blunt, so I'll do it.
All right.
Because compliance is doing what you've been told to do.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when my mom would tell me to clean my room. I'd clean my room, and I'd do the minimum possible.
Right.
Shove stuff under the bed until I got onto that, then throw in the closet until I got onto that. And then was so creative, I'd even throw things in the heater vent, right? Whatever it took, even though it was a lot easier probably to just throw the garbage in the garbage.
Right.
Right. But that's kind of the behavior that compliance creates, is this minimum necessary to get by because I've been told to do something from somebody from authority, right?
Right.
And security is managing risk.
Right.
Right. To using administrative, physical, technical controls.
Right.
Trying to protect the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. That's totally different. It starts with managing risk, not with checking boxes.
Right. And I think exactly checking the boxes. That's the big thing. Is it'll say you must have a firewall, you must have segmentation, you must have this.
Right.
Well, you can do that, but if it's not done correctly, or if you don't have an asset inventory to protect things against, how do you know? Right. Mm-hmm. You have horrible policies that nobody understands and nobody reads.
Well, because the fact of the matter is, I don't think there's any ROI in compliance, but you can find an ROI in managing risk. Mm-hmm. Right? People manage risk all the time, especially in business. You have financial risk, you have reputational risk, you have compliance risk. There are many risks that you handle and manage in a business. Information security risk is just another one of those.
Right.
Yet people don't. A lot of people don't treat it that way.
I mean, how many places have CFOs and do financial risk analysis on every move, but don't have a CISO or CSO or whatever title to manage.
Right.
It's an IT function.
Right. Well, that's another issue.
Yeah.
That ticks me off. That ticks me off even more.
But you're at as big of a risk or potentially larger from a security breach than making a bad financial decision around opening a new location or a merger acquisition.
Right.
But how many places have we seen? What's the damage of having a breach? And
yeah, we have a long ways to go in this. By the way, what if you were to guess? And I probably asked you this before. If you were to guess, what percent? Actually, give me the top 3 reasons why people spend money on information security.
We've talked a little bit about it with the percentage, but it's definitely I have a compliance requirement, banking, healthcare, whatever. I've been breached, so I have to, or somebody in charge has worked somewhere where there's been a breach and is trying to now become proactive, or it is. But I would say it's probably, you're being told you have to. You had a breach and now it's like, we should be doing this.
So compliance is by far and away the largest driver for investment in security, right?
Yeah.
So That's frustrating, isn't it? I mean, because they're different things. Take HIPAA, 1996 is when it came out, the security rule. One of the things in there, which was pretty cool, was you have to do a risk analysis, administrative, physical, technical safeguards.
Right.
That kind of fits with our definition, so that seems cool.
Right.
But people didn't do it.
Right.
Or the way they did it
was
half-assed. Right? Enough to check the box.
Right.
Not enough to actually drive business.
Or they would scope down to we've seen that where they were like, oh, we were doing a risk assessment on your EMR system, not everywhere else that's directly connected into it because you have no segmentation between systems or anything. Mm-hmm. And then they get the corrective action plan that says, oh, enterprise-wide risk assessment. Right.
So let's get deep a little bit, me and you. Even though this is you're leading this one.
Yeah.
How would we fix this? We know that compliance is the biggest driver of information security spending and just information security in general. And we've tried, it seems like, because we've been saying the same things, security people, for a long time, and nothing's changing.
I think we use that, though, right? So, okay, you have this compliance you need. What we're going to do is we're going to get you secure, and in the process, you'll become compliant with HIPAA.
Yeah.
Right? If we can do security correctly, it makes compliance really easy.
Yeah. And we said that, but it just doesn't seem to be resonating with people.
No, I think it's definitely, we've had people respond very positively to that and say, oh, okay, I like hearing that. That is a differentiator between
maybe that's just where I was. Because that was a mantra ever since we started, essentially. Yeah. But maybe it's just the breadth, the number of organizations we've been able to work with so far. It's just we've kind of been limited by that.
Maybe. I think also, the environment is changing a little bit. So, you're now seeing a newer wave of people coming in who have now been affected by breaches. So maybe they're, a little more cognizant of that and trying to avoid it from happening.
It's hard to be patient. You've been in this industry for 20 years. I've been in for 20, 25. And I'm sort of tired of the same message, aren't you?
Yeah, but it's still, you just got to keep hammering it.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if there's a better, more creative way for us to hammer it. That's what I'm kind of thinking.
That's what we're doing right now.
I'm sorry, I coughed.
I don't know where the cough button is.
Yeah, we don't know how to use this stuff.
No.
So that's what stuff like this, a podcast, talking about it here.
Getting out and speaking more. I think that, the more people we can reach.
So you think it's more of a get more creative in the way we reach people versus get more creative in our message?
Yeah, I think the message resonates.
It does, okay.
And it's not going to be for everyone.
Right.
And that's kind of what triggered this. But yeah, the people that hear it and are looking for the right thing, they're in.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad though, for those people who don't get it. Because building a security program can actually bring value to your business. I mean, I think you can find ways to make more money, right?
Yep.
We have lots of sayings. Complexity is the enemy of security. If I can find processes that are, overly complex and simplify those processes, I can find a return on investment.
Right.
And manage risk better at the same time. You can integrate and weave this into your business so well that you actually have a well-functioning business.
Right. And like you said,
you won't be able to do that with compliance.
True.
I don't know how you could.
No. Yeah, compliance is, we've got our certification, so we're set. We're checking that box.
Right. You might be able to get more business, but eventually the house of cards will fall.
So, in the notes I have 2 articles from...
Are we on news now?
No.
Oh.
From Krebs, which, by the way, I leaned pretty heavily on him this week. He had some really good ones.
See, that's Drake. Drake forgot to turn off his, what do you call that, ringer?
No, yeah.
I never have my ringer on. I'm not as popular, though, Probably as Drake is.
all mine are is work emails pinging through. I don't want to hear that.
No.
No.
Krebs has...
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he's...
My
so,
God, that guy.
Well, we can talk about that in a sec. But, he wrote an article in 2016 around this value of a hacked company. The sad truth is far too many organizations spend only what they have to on security, which is often to meet some kind of compliance regulation or obligation such as HIPAA or PCI, whatever. Real effective security is about going beyond compliance, focusing on rapidly detecting and responding to intrusions, and constantly doing the gap analysis to identify and shore up your organization's weak spots before the bad guys can exploit them. And I saw that. I was just like, that. Yeah, he clearly gets. That's exactly it. 2014 Forbes, which was an article by SunGuard, being compliant won't save you from being hacked. Requirements are not the same as best practices. Prescriptive requirements are often the bare necessities of information security. To defend against all-purpose attacks, full information security programs and best practices must be implemented. So, I mean, this is nothing new. Like you said, this is the same message. We've been
preaching this since 1992.
And I just found those two and quit looking because I was like, that really just sums up exactly my thoughts on this. And
yeah, it's part of it's frustrating, but you've always had a more positive sort of outlook than I do, I think, on some of these things. Yeah. But so if you tell me that we're making a difference, because I know we're making a difference. If you tell me we're making progress. It's
so slow. It is. I think we are, right? I think the message is getting across, but.
Because I see areas where we are getting the message across, but then I see areas where it seems like we're backstepping a little bit. Take, for instance, information security, right? We have our definition, but then cybersecurity becomes this buzzword now, because it's sexier, right? Right. I mean, it's one less syllable. That's definitely going to get me more sales. But cyber is of or pertaining to a computer. It doesn't. Right. So when I'm driving so hard trying to make information security a business issue, and then we start using the word cybersecurity, it's a small little difference, but it's a difference.
It is. Yeah.
Words matter.
It's how much of it is marketing and messaging and what the media drives on.
And I've had people that are like, yeah, man, I believe that. I get it, But then, you see their Twitter posts or something, and it's back to cyber. And it's cyber and information security are two different things.
That does drive me crazy too. Yeah, it's like no.
So how do we squash that? Like cybersecurity. If you want to use the word, fine, use it, but it's used for what it's defined as.
Right, and well, even insurance, it's cyber insurance. It's
I get a little defensive too.
Information security insurance.
Right. Yeah, because people are the biggest risk, right? I mean, everybody agrees with that. And
when you have a breach, it's because. Yeah. Most often somebody clicked on a link they shouldn't have.
And when you give a talk, you get this. This is one of my frustrating things. See, now I'm going to rant more. Yeah. When you give a talk and you say these things and you see in the audience this, everybody's nodding their head. Right. And I wonder how many, they're just, sorry, but they're just head nodders. It's like, do something about it. Treat it something. Right. Treat it as something different. Like, actually do it. Like asset management. Everybody agrees. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's important. I can't protect what I don't know I have. Yeah, that's really important. And then do it.
Yeah. Right.
Just do it. Information security is all about managing risk. Yeah. So what's risk? Tell me what risk is. Well,
a game.
Yeah. It's like, okay, it's and I get it. If you don't know what risk is, it's the likelihood of something bad happening and the impact if it did.
But
two things go into that: threats and vulnerabilities. Exactly. And it's okay to not know stuff. I run into all kinds of crap I don't know. Right. But ego, I think, drives a big part of this business too.
Right. Well, and I think you're right on that. A lot of people don't want to admit they aren't.
Because do you think everything. Here's a dream of mine. So we do risk assessments all the time, right? In your day, right? Mm-hmm. Not just not work, not this formal stuff that we do, but like every day. You get up in the morning. You start doing these little risk calculations in your mind, and you don't even think twice about it. And the one I like to use is when you're coming up to a yellow light in your car. You do a risk assessment. It's snap. You don't think about it. You just do it. You start looking. Are there cars?
Right.
Is there cross traffic? Is there a cop? How fast am I going? All these things. The road conditions, and then you make a decision.
Right.
And then you just get on with your day. You don't. You know what I mean? It's almost like subconscious.
Right.
And my theory is you do that because you grew up with that.
Mm-hmm.
You grew up with sitting in the back seat with mom and dad. You saw how they did it. You've been in a car a million times by the time you actually get behind the wheel and do this yourself.
Yeah.
And with information security, I think it's still so foreign that people can't just grasp.
That's what I'm excited
with easily.
With like Drake in the high school programs, and even my daughters are in middle school and elementary school, and starting even at that age, hopefully, that becomes a little bit more prevalent. But I mean, the programs there aren't that many of them.
Right.
This is the problem.
If you could get business leaders to start thinking that way, to start understanding what information security is, start being able to almost, just second nature, calculating risk and make those decisions. Like, would I ever acquire another business without ever doing a risk assessment? Right? Would I ever merge with another company?
We still have an ongoing IR around one.
Yeah, I mean, but that's a big deal, right? As a business person, I'm making a big, huge decision, and I didn't even think of information security.
And it
didn't cross my mind.
Big.
Well, Marriott, right?
Yeah, Marriott's another huge one, right? Looks good financially. We're safe. We're all set. Crap.
Yeah, and I'm guessing both Marriott and this other entity, Starwood, was it? Was it Starwood?
Yeah.
Whoever they bought. So. I'm guessing both of those places were compliant.
Well, PCI.
Well, I mean, what if whatever the hell the compliance thing was?
What else would there be for? Right? That's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, we're driving our program by compliance, so we protect the CDE for credit cards.
Where do people think these laws come from, by the way? I mean, how many people, like you're wearing that shirt, which I love, by the way, Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
But like, how does a bill become a law? Just simple civics, you know? Because what happens, like right now you've got Google, Facebook, Apple, Microsoft. All these companies are pushing really hard on a federal privacy law.
Right.
I mean, right there, does that what? Really?
Because
these guys? Yeah, but why do they want that? Because they don't want to comply with 50 different state laws.
It's way easier to have one that they basically wrote than state laws that they didn't have input in. But
do you know what some people actually believe, and maybe even the majority, is that Facebook really cares about my privacy. Because they're pushing so hard and advocating so hard for a federal privacy law to protect me as a consumer.
As they post passwords in clear text.
Which couldn't be more... Well, and you saw some of the things that came out last week about Facebook. I mean, they were actually willingly, wanton? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Selling data.
Right.
To... they should never have sold.
Right.
And it went all the way to the top. I mean, Zuckerberg himself is...
Right.
In these messages.
And then,
but they care so much about our privacy.
Nothing will happen. Right.
Yeah. So it brings it all back. Understand risk, manage risk. Security is all about risk. If you don't know what risk is, ask for help. There's lots of people that would love to teach what risk actually is.
Right.
And there's a ton of different methodologies. You mentioned last week the FAIR methodology. That's a good methodology. We use FRSecure. There's probably a half dozen or so that are good risk assessment tools.
Pick one and use it, and then actually adopt it and buy in.
Right, and then operationalize it. That's another thing I see a lot of people struggling with is you do these risk assessments, and then who's supposed to make the risk decisions?
Right.
Not me. I'm a security guy. You don't want me making risk decisions.
Well, it'll be secure.
And you'll be out of business. Eventually. Because I don't know business.
Right.
A business is in business to make money, so the business person has to make
Right.
risk decisions.
Security should be, here's what the risk is, here are some options.
Right.
Here's what each of these options, the outcomes or whatever.
Right.
You tell me what's acceptable. Then, we can implement whatever you want to do.
And truly, I think if you've never done this before, I'm talking to business leaders, I'm talking to CEOs, anybody who's listening in that level. If you've never done this before, it does feel awkward at the beginning because it's a learning experience. These are things that you've never had to make decisions on before.
Right.
But you need to get over that hump. You need to operationalize this because it does give you a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
In time. Guaranteed.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is you got to trust your staff, right?
If you got good staff.
If you've hired, but even if, I would hope so. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
A whole nother rabbit hole.
But if you have a security person coming to you and saying, hey, we've got this risk, we can either do this and here's the impact, or we just leave it and here's what could happen. You got to understand that they're taking this seriously, and you need to make a decision. And it's okay to accept the risk.
Right.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
But I think, it makes me think that's the speaking the whole language thing, and
absolutely,
how can security better frame that to a business, because that's probably a big part of it as well.
Right? Oh, for sure.
Like you just said, you're not a business person. How do you turn and take? Hey, if we don't, I'll use the example from a book, from a mentor program. If the DDoS attack takes us down, and here's what our impact is, and we expect this to happen 4 times a year at this cost, and then here's our options of mitigating the solution. How do you frame that so that a business person understands a cost both ways, and
Sure.
how to make how to make a decision?
Well, and as an information security person, I'm a consultant to the business. I might be hired as an employee, but I'm still a consultant to the business, right? I consult the business on, hey, these are the risks. This is what risk means. This is what it means to us. You build those relationships and then let them make those decisions. And just like a consultant, just like here, I've always preached there are 3 things that we need to get a new client, right? Yeah. Trust, credibility, and you have to like us.
Yeah.
So if I'm a consultant, if I'm a security person inside of a business and I'm having troubles getting the business to listen to me or whatever, there's probably a deficiency in they don't trust you, they don't think you're credible, or they don't like you.
And I've absolutely worked with...
look in the mirror sometimes. Right. And then sometimes you have places where you just can't get over those humps. Then go, leave. Go get another job.
Well, and I think part of it is there's a small, hopefully, portion of security people that are very much my way or the highway.
Right.
Which doesn't help.
So they're not going to like you.
Right. And then you make decisions for the business, which is not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And then they don't trust you because, hey, you did this and it had a negative impact. We lost business, or we couldn't.
Or I didn't even take the time to build the trust in the first place.
Right. Just come in right away and
just assume that they know what the hell you're talking about. Right. You throw around a bunch of acronyms thinking that that's the way you build trust. No, it makes you look like a jerk. Yeah, jerk. Yeah. Acronyms are one thing, but taking the time to actually sit down with the business, explain to them what this means. Mm-hmm. This is what risk is. And I know that executives don't have all the time in the world, so use that time really wisely. If you've got 5 minutes, what's the most impactful thing I can say in 5 minutes? Prepare for it.
Right.
That's why, I think those are if I had advice for any CISO out there, and I think a lot of them do a good job, especially in larger companies, but the ones that are struggling, it's got to be a deficiency somewhere in trust, credibility, or they don't like you.
Yeah, and I've said, I think part of it is you have a lot that just come in right away and just sweeping changes, right? Like, hey, I've got to make my mark.
You could do that after a breach.
Yeah, but if there isn't one,
right?
It's like, all right, listen to the organization, understand why have they done things the way they've done them. Mm-hmm. It's not always maybe the right reason, but there is a reason.
Right.
But that's going to, at least my experience, it builds that trust, right? Mm-hmm. I'm listening to you. Okay, so you're doing it this way. Well, here's some whatever changes that will still fit in, but
Right.
reduce that risk, right? Not just,
Absolutely.
well, you can't do that. We're not doing that anymore. And I've seen those people as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you don't tell the business they can't do stuff.
And then you're out. You're never going to succeed.
Well, and I've seen a lot of security people, and I've done it myself, I'm sure, where instead of being the yes people, we're the no people.
Yeah.
You know, it should be the yes people, but here are some risks that we should account for. So try to look for controls around whatever it is that the business wants to do. And
Right.
eventually, if you're yes enough, you'll start to be able to be proactive because they'll start inviting you to meetings, planning meetings that you were never in before, and you'll be able to account for those and see a better perspective of how security fits everywhere.
Right.
Because a lot of times it seems really reactive, but I think you have to be reactive before you can be proactive, right?
Yeah.
So the reactive is like, yes, you can do it, and okay, hurry up and scramble and figure out how you're going to put some controls in place. But you're building that trust.
Yeah. Like the yes, but yes, we can do that, but I need you to understand this is the risk.
Yeah.
Here's some alternatives I'd like you to at least consider. Right.
Right.
Yeah, we can do that. That's fine. It's your call. Do you understand the risk around it?
Yeah, and if you can do that, then the CEO and executive management begins to champion your cause.
Right. Yeah.
And that's when you won the game.
Right. Because at that point, so much of it is framing, right? You're like, yeah, okay, that's a great idea. But did you consider these things? Because that's what you're paid for, right? To look at the risk that they're not considering. And how can we improve this? How can we do what you want to do, but do it correctly or do it securely, as it were?
Yeah. It's amazing, though, how many security people don't even know what their jobs are in the business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you mentioned, this is what you get paid for. I wonder, it goes back to our why. Like, why am I here? Like, what's the purpose of I don't know.
Because the regulatory requirement is you have a named security officer.
So I think if you are a security, so there's all kinds of advice, I think, in this. If you're a security person who agrees that security and compliance are two different things, if you don't agree, then you probably should have another job because it's like so obvious.
Right.
I don't even want to debate it with anybody anymore. So if you've been struggling with getting the business to operate that way, so the person that you would talk to on the phone, if that was a CEO who was saying, I just want to do the minimum amount possible, and I'm a security person who works in that organization, I think there's a lot of those types of people out there that are struggling with getting business to truly understand that compliance and security are two different things, that we really need to build a security program here based on risk. I really need your involvement here. I need not just involvement, but I need you to champion this with me because this is part of our business and it's different than anything we've done before. Right. So if you're struggling in that position, I think the best advice that I could give them is work on that trust, credibility, and do they like you thing.
Yeah.
Because then you can start making security even fun. Imagine that, when it's actually an enjoyable experience that people want to do. And then when you miss a meeting, they're like, hey, where's our security meeting?
Time out, yeah.
The hell? This is, if you can get there, then that's a great spot.
We have a really important decision to make. What's going on? Where are they?
Yeah. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, if you're a CEO or a business leader and you're looking at it from the other perspective, you're missing out on huge opportunities to take every information security dollar that you spend. You're missing opportunities in translating that into some type of a return.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go back because it made me think of this. One of the surprising programs that really got it, that went from wanting to argue every single point in a policy to why do we have to do these, and going through where they made some edits where it's like, wait, time out. What are you doing here? They went to, between the meetings, they came with a meeting of, what about the new watches that have cameras on them and how does that affect areas with medical records? And here's our thoughts on this. And they'd done,
See?
It blew my mind. But it's
It's becoming just part of how they do stuff.
It's because of how they actually took it seriously and learned from it, and we're like, okay, so we could have reached out, but we wanted to see how we did on our own. Here's the risk. What do we do? Because we don't allow phones with cameras into these areas.
Right.
What do we do with watches? Do we make people take them off? Do we, and it's like, man, that's a tough one. How do you enforce that even?
Right.
How can you tell which watch has that on it?
Well, and you go back, you mentioned one thing. So in what you just said, you said taking it seriously. And I think a lot of people, everybody would say that they take security seriously.
Yeah.
But, if you asked them.
Right.
Right. But if I think security means compliance, I could be taking that as seriously as all get out, but I'm still doing it wrong.
Right. Well, yeah, they got it and are doing it. Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of companies, man, they take it seriously. They spend hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on high trust certification and ISO and all these other things, yet their risk assessments or their handling of risk is just crap.
Yeah.
So, but you brought up a great example of they took it seriously and they're doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess
that's beautiful.
It's that second piece. Yeah. I was blown away when,
that's cool,
and
they
they had some really good thoughts, around how do they do it and how do they change, what do they have to say in their policy? Because it said specifically around phones. Do they need to change? They thought the entire concept of policy and actual reality of it, and
so they thought.
I know,
thinking. It's crazy. It's amazing what happens when you think.
But those are the things that make you keep going, right?
Yeah.
You're seeing these successes.
If it was failure all the time, man, this would be such a drag.
Yeah.
But at least we know how things work. So it's like even when you get confronted with opposition, you're able to overcome that. We've been through this enough times and we've seen it work enough times that there's only one way to do this.
Right. Yeah.
You have to manage risk. There's no other way.
You have to do it right.
Right.
All right. Well, that was good.
It was. I love when we have
Drake?
Conversations.
It was fun to listen in. Yeah.
Oh, he's still here. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. We gotta just go off on that. All right.
Drake likes Disturbed. We should play some Disturbed next time. I want to figure out some new bumper music.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out. See, that's the licensing stuff around that too. I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
I'll let the lawyers figure that out.
I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, I'd rather not have them.
What you do? What I can tell you what happens. So what happens? You get a cease and desist, and then you just stop using it.
Yeah.
Then you go to somebody else's music.
I'd rather not do that. Sounds like a hassle.
No, it's easy. Been through it many times.
All right. So we'll talk some news. Easter attack affects 500 million Apple iOS users via a Chrome bug. This is on ThreatPost. Easter attack Apple iOS. So about 500 million Apple iOS users and counting have been hit session hijacking malware attack. So this is work of the e-gobbler gang, which is...
What a stupid name. Now they're going to attack me.
I know, right? But yeah, mainly attacking U.S. users. There's been some European activity.
E-gobbler.
I know.
You couldn't come up with anything better than that?
I don't know anything about them.
I'm actually, I was going to tell you about this later though, but I've got some people targeting me.
Well, that's what happens when you...
And now we got the e-gobbler. Maybe they'll be targeting me too.
Yeah. So, basically Chrome on iOS, where the built-in pop-up blocker is failing, is popping up and giving you the, whatever page, congratulations, you've been selected to spin. You can't block out of it. So it's basically getting out of the sandboxing that's supposed to be set up. And as far as I know, I didn't see an update that it's been fixed yet.
So it's happening through malvertising, pretty much? malicious
It's
advertising.
basically allowing JavaScript to execute even when blockers are in place. So Safari and...
So when you encounter that pop-up with the OK button, you'd never click the OK button, right?
Just kill
the session.
Kill it all.
Because then, if your session's hijacked and you killed the session, well then,
right,
no loss, right?
Right. So,
but a lot of times people don't do that, I suppose. Do you use iOS? No, you're
No, I do have
okay
iPads at home.
Do you use Chrome?
I do have it, but no, I use primarily either Brave, which is based on Chromium, or Firefox.
Okay, and I still use just Safari. I
don't like Safari.
Yeah, I don't like lots of things. Man,
I like Firefox because they actually are a nonprofit, and they do have some real legit security behind it. So
if you had advice for the listeners on one particular browser to use on iOS, I'd
probably go Firefox.
Firefox?
Yeah. It's not perfect, but at least it's, as far as I know, not allowing hijacking of your JavaScript or pop-ups.
Right.
So, not as far. There's no update on that article if it's been remediated. So, be careful with that. Next one. This is a big one. Wipro was breached, and in there on the new article, Krebs wrote 3 different articles about it. There's one from Forbes, one from CSO Online.
Yeah, they must have pissed Krebs off.
I think, you could tell the story of what he did, but basically they got breached and didn't really want to admit to it. So I think it was Wipro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're India's 3rd largest IT outsourcing company.
Publicly traded.
Yep. Multi-month intrusion from an assumed state-sponsored attack.
State-sponsored. Script kiddies can do some of these things.
Right. So, just a little bit on there. April 9th, Krebs reached out to Wipro for a comment. April 10th, head of communications saying he was traveling, needed a couple days. Because that's how you respond to...
If Brian Krebs calls,
that's
step out of the meeting.
That
Take
is
the call.
Red alert, stop everything and figure out what happened, because you're in trouble. So 2 days later, he sent a statement that didn't acknowledge any of the questions. It was just, it's marketing gibberish.
See, the thing is not only is Krebs so well known, but he's well known because he researches every one of his stories. Yeah. His sources are better than any sources you'll find.
Oh yeah.
So when he calls,
it's so good.
So when he calls, you take the call.
I hope to never
Plus,
get a call
like
from
bulldog
him around something like this.
Well, and if he does, I think you work with him.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
It's you take it seriously. You work with him, and then hope that he writes something. Well, and he will. He's always written truthful articles, as far as I know.
Yes.
So if you're working with him and being transparent and all those things, you could use this actually to your advantage if you did it right. I mean, you can take bad events, and if you can control the message, you can make yourself look really good, right? Because, I mean, the fact of the matter is, no matter what I do, I can't prevent breaches from happening, right?
Right.
And so these are all the things that we did to try to prevent this breach from happening. This is a place where we didn't see it.
Yeah.
We're humans. We apologize. We're going to you know what I mean? You just be truthful in your message, and what Wipro did was just stupid.
Yeah, so they were saying in the article that one of the customers said at least 11 other companies were attacked. Evidence from file folders found on the intruder backend infrastructure named after the various clients. They wouldn't admit it or tell who it was, I guess, disclose it. But he's got, a follow-up article that was experts breach at IT outsourcing giant Wipro. Then Wipro intruders targeted other major IT firms with more details. And then the best one, that at least that I really enjoyed, was how not to acknowledge a data breach.
Yeah.
And I would recommend going and listening to the embedded audio. And
oh God, it was classic. I've never heard anything so cool.
Go ahead. You tell it.
Oh yeah, well, so they had their earnings call, their quarterly earnings call. It's a publicly traded company, and Wipro was denying some of the things or claiming some of the things that Krebs was claiming were inaccurate, and so Krebs called in to the earnings call and directly, can you tell me specifically what in my article was incorrect or misstated? And they just backpedaled. They were not expecting him to call at all during that quarterly meeting, and the reaction's hilarious. So they're, well, can we take this call? Can we have a second call or whatever? And Krebs is like, I just want to know what
was false.
What's up? Yeah.
Yeah. So a little bit more on that one. They're saying it was a 0-day attack. And he's basically calling very correctly, like politically correctly, he's calling BS on them.
Well, here's what I call BS. You see this crap in every breach. And this reminds me back when I used to write the breach blog. I'd write on every breach. It's always the same crap. State-sponsored, sophisticated, 0-day. Mm-hmm. This wasn't just us. They were going after, all those things to try to minimize. And every time you use those words, I think you're being less and less transparent. Because the fact of the matter is, I don't care if it was state-sponsored or not, because so what?
Yeah.
An attacker is an attacker. You had a breach. You had a weakness that you either didn't account for, didn't know you had something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That stuff just ticks me off when you try to minimize, because what you're doing is you're treating people who are reading that like they're stupid.
Yeah. And, yeah.
I'm not stupid, You just had a breach. Just explain what happened in the breach, what was exposed, what you intend to do to fix it, to make sure it doesn't happen again, or at least you minimize the chances of it happening again.
Right. And
just be open and transparent with it, rather than trying to flub around with this crap that's really irrelevant to the breach.
And this will go to the IR stuff that we're planning to talk more about around messaging and all that.
Don't underemphasize PR.
But so his recap of their public response: ignore the reporter's question for days, then nitpick the story during a public investor conference call, question the stated timing of the breach but refuse to provide alternative timeline, downplay the severity of the incident, and then say the intruders deployed a 0-day attack, then refuse to discuss details of said 0-day, claim the indicators of compromise you're sharing with affected clients were discovered by you when they were sent by one of your infected clients to you. And so they're just literally just digging themselves deeper.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw the same, not like this, but with the Equifax breach, also on how not to respond to a breach. That was the worst PR disaster response I've ever seen. So take the things that you learned from Wipro, which is really, they're misleading statements. They're statements to try to mislead you from the facts, so you never do that you'd never do that. The problem with the Equifax is they just didn't think things through. They just didn't, how would this be perceived? So their PR was just like crap.
They just were not good.
But and when we talk about incident response, that's one of the things you really have to get your hands around right off the bat.
Right.
Is controlling communications internally in the organization, and then controlling communications outside of the organization. Well, only one person should be able to speak, or a group of people,
right.
And that's it.
Right. But and then
if anybody else talks about it, you tase them.
I think the Krebs piece was really good from a technical detail, all three of those. Then Forbes and CSO Online, it really comes down to third-party risk, supply chain, security. I'm going to guess that there's some really big companies that were and are using Wipro for this. What was their third-party risk? Right? Did they do any risk assessment on them to say?
Or was Wipro just so big, like they're like a Microsoft?
I'm just going to accept it. Like, would it? Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's that's a whole different ball game. But
because these clients that are using Wipro also have some liability. Also has some liability here, right?
Right. Yeah.
If you didn't
account
for, yeah.
There's at least 11 of them that were breached, and now you have to defend your decision to use this. And
the sucky thing is, though, is so many of these lawsuits don't ever settle.
Right.
Yeah, or they settle, but they don't. There's no real liability.
Right. Yeah.
Because I'm going to open up a whole nother can of worms, like Senator Warren.
Oh, right.
About her wanting to hold CEOs criminally liable for breaches and executives. We don't even hold them civilly liable, so I don't understand how criminal would work.
Yeah, it's tough. Something's got to change. Right.
Well, if they're negligent, I mean, define truly what negligence is. I mean, I think the courts have so much to learn, too, about what security is.
Right.
Because if they're negligent, then they're liable.
The problem is you'll get that happen, and then, 6 months or a year later, 2 years later, after they've gotten their golden parachute, they just get another gig.
Well, and that's okay, but somebody has to pay.
Right. But they're not. That's the problem.
That's exactly the problem.
Fun.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Last story today, Facebook. Oops, we logged 100 times more Instagram plain text passwords than we originally thought.
Yeah, of course. Of course you did.
Whoops. Yeah, it's been a weekend since I put this together. I don't remember how many it said. But
just remember, Facebook bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically just
for privacy. That's how they say it over in the UK, privacy.
If you're using Instagram or Facebook, just change your password and use multi-factor.
Have you ever heard that before?
Yeah.
Man. I'm coughing.
It's all that physical labor.
I know, right? And there was like dust.
Working all the bad stuff
sweated.
out now. Oh. Yeah. March, the damage was said to involve hundreds of millions of Facebook Lite users, tens of millions of Facebook users, and tens of thousands of Instagram users.
There's a Facebook Lite?
Additional logs of Instagram passwords stored in readable format impacted millions of Instagram users.
Oh, Instagram. That's real popular.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm guessing my 14-year-old daughter's password is probably in there somewhere.
Yeah. Yay.
Which kind of sucks. But then you got because I've seen this happen before. Like when one teen gets another teen's password, that can get bad. Right. Then you get cyberbullying kind of crap and posting things on their accounts so even if you're a parent and you have kids, maybe just teach them how to change their password. Maybe change their password anyway, just as good hygiene. Because if I were my daughter, 14-year-old daughter, if I was my 14-year-old daughter, there's some people I would not want to have my password, right?
Right.
So.
Yeah, well, my daughter just turned 13 this year and got Instagram. Well, we set up multi-factor and all that, but still, yay.
Mm-hmm. I have a wisdom thing.
Okay.
Are we done?
Yeah.
For the show?
Sure.
Do you have a wisdom thing? I thought about this.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
I want to hear yours.
Oh, no. I thought about this on Saturday night. In the middle of the night, I woke up with this thought. Tell me if I'm crazy. Well, you know I'm crazy.
Yes, but what's your thought?
Okay, so while the prudent man drives the herd, the wolves devour the sheep. Do you know what the prudent man is?
Yeah.
Talks about negligence.
Right.
And so really what it is, it's about this herd mentality where we've got the prudent man is where the herd is.
Right.
But that's not where it's supposed to be because it's not good enough.
Right.
And so the wolves are devouring the sheep because the prudent man is driving the herd, not you.
Huh.
See what I'm saying? I should be driving my herd. I should be managing my risks. My risks are, related to me. You have a different set of risks.
Right. Yeah.
So if the average of us is the prudent man, and then others who have different risks join that herd, that's what executive management does. What's the number one question you get when you deliver results?
What is everyone else?
We compare with everybody else. Well, who cares?
Right.
How you compare with everybody else. Worry about your own risk.
Right.
And so that's the point with while the prudent man drives the herd, the wolves devour the sheep. Deep, right?
It is. Wow.
I woke up at, I don't know what time it was. It was a Saturday morning. I don't have a life. This is it.
Wow. That is deep.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you. That's actually going to be truth number 15 that goes out this morning.
Oh, there you go. So with that, I don't know how I can top ending on that note. So Greg, thank you for
I should be sitting on the top of a mountain somewhere.
Robes. Mm-hmm. All right. That is it for episode 24 with Evan's deep
Greg.
thoughts.
Thank you.
Don't forget, you can follow me or Evan on Twitter at Evan Francine or at Brad and I. And you can email the show at unsecurity@protonmail.com. Everyone have a great week, and we will talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the UNSECURITY podcast. We value our listeners and would love to hear from you. Give us your feedback by emailing us at unsecurity@protonmail.com. That's UNSECURITY@PROTONMAIL.com. Be sure to tune in next week to hear the latest insights from Brad and Evan.